So today we're gonna make we're gonna use styrofoam plates to do our printmaking, and we're gonna have to make a drawing first that we're gonna transfer onto the styrofoam plate. So just go ahead and get some goose paper, some good on one side paper. You're going to take the styrofoam, you're going to trace the styrofoam around your goose paper so that you have the right size paper, because we're going to cut it off later. It'll make it easier to transfer. I've already gone ahead and done my drawing that I'm going to put on my styrofoam plate, and then I'm going to cut out the rectangle that I traced, because this just makes it easier for us to transfer the drawing. And you're going to want to have a line drawing, something that doesn't have a lot of details, because it's not going to show up really well on a print if your lines are too close together. And you want it to fill up the space. Mine's not touching the edges, but like if you have it touching the edges and coming off the edges, that's a good way to help you fill up the space. And then I'm just going to use some Scotch tape. You can use masking tape, any kind of tape, just to hold it down while I'm tracing it, so that it doesn't, the paper doesn't slide around. And so now I'm going to transfer this drawing that I've done onto the styrofoam plate underneath. And I'm just going to transfer it by tracing over all of my lines. I'm pushing a little bit, but I don't want to push too hard because I don't want to tear a hole in my paper or the styrofoam. Once you think you've traced all your lines, then you're going to go ahead and look at your styrofoam plate. Yeah, it looks like most of my lines transferred. So I'm going to go ahead and rip that off. And now I have to go back in and trace my lines again. Alright, once you trace over it the second time, you're just going to feel and make sure that you can feel all the indentations. You should be able to feel it dent in. If you can't, then you need to go back over and retrace it again, because otherwise it is going to pick, all the ink is going to go in your lines and you're not going to be able to see your drawing very well. Okay, so once you've transferred your drawing onto your styrofoam plate, then you're ready to print. You will need a placemat like this that tells you exactly where to put your plates, where to put your paper. It's measured out so that your styrofoam plate will fit in the middle, and then we have all different colors of paper that we can use, and those line up exactly here. That way when we're printing, we can get our print right in the middle, so it's centered automatically. You're going to need a couple of pages. I have some old art catalogs and telephone books. You're just going to rip a couple pages out and put your plate on there. That's what we're going to use to ink our plate while we're inking, so we don't get a mess everywhere. We're going to use some block printing ink that comes in little tubes like this. If you run out of ink, or if you need ink, just let me know and I'll pour some on there. And then we're going to need a brayer. That's what this tool is called. And this is how we're going to roll on the ink. So the ink starts off in a line. You just dip the brayer in the ink like so, and then underneath it you're gonna roll it like this. And whoops, if you need more, you'll just get a little bit more. You don't want too much ink, because if you get too much ink, it's gonna go in all your lines, your drawing. You want it to sound like that kind of like mac and cheese kind of sound. You can hear that. and then you're going to roll it on your plate. So I'm going to roll up and down and side to side. I want to make sure I cover the whole plate where I can still see some white. I'm going to keep rolling over that and make sure I get it nice and covered. When I feel like I have it pretty covered, then I'm ready to print it on my paper. So I'm going to take the inking plate off, and I'm going to put these to the side. This I'm going to line up in the middle, like so, and then I'm going to take my paper, which I need to make sure I put my name on first. So let's go ahead and put our name on the back. And then we're just going to line it up with this rectangle on the outside and gently place it there. And we're going to try to make sure, I didn't get it quite lined up, but it's pretty close. And now we're going to do what we call burnishing. So we are going to rub the paper kind of like you would rub your tummy. You had a tummy ache, and you're going to rub it all over. You want to make sure that your paper is not sliding around or your image is going to get blurry. So I'm rubbing it, and then if I think I'm ready to pull it off, I'm going to check it first by just pulling up a little bit of the corner. I might rub it a little more. You will notice your first print isn't going to come out as dark. The more you ink your plate, the more ink sticks on there and the darker your prints will get. So let's go ahead and pull that off. Ta-da! So this is when you would check and see if your lines aren't showing up. If some of your lines disappear, then you might need to go wash your plate off and then go trace the lines again. You didn't trace them hard enough is why that happens. This is a little light, but this is normal for a first print. So like I said, as we do more prints, it'll get darker. So I'm going to go ahead and get my scratch paper again and get some more ink. This is the great thing about printmaking, is that you can get multiple prints from the same drawing. You can see this print, like I said, is already getting darker than the first print. So your first print is probably not going to be one that's going to be one of your best prints. This one's looking a lot better. I probably need some more ink in the middle, but you check it. Do it till you have about 3 prints that you really like, and try different colors and see how it changes your image.